Alright, I'm back to work on the cabin. The last couple of times I've been going in by boat with building materials, but this time I've got long lumber that's got to go down the trail. So here's the end of the road, and I'm going to take it in with my ATV and my contraption rack that I built. This has come to be known as my time machine. So I'd rather do it by boat, but it's just not an option with this stuff. So I thought I'd try to give you an idea of what it's like to drive the time machine, but I don't have one of those helmet mounted cameras like all the kids do, so I'm trying to drive with one hand here and hold the camera in the other. It gives you an idea. But this is actually the smoothest, flattest part of the trail. I gotta really be careful not to ski hook any trees with the lumber on the way in. A lot of the trail is rocky and hilly and swampy and stuff, but this was the only place I could film. This was hard enough to do as it was. Really don't enjoy this much. It's just loud and a lot of work, and it takes constant attention. Slow going takes a long time, so. But it's better than carrying it. So I got my lumber hauled in, and along the way I set a new record for length on the time machine. I've had to haul in 4 of these 24-footers, so it's good to know I can do it anyway. And by the time I got everything in, it's about almost an hour each trip by the time I load and unload and go each way. So by the time everything made it in, there's not much left to do except just enjoy the evening. For the last week and a half or so, I've had an owl hanging out around my dock every night, so I put a camera right on the spot where he's been. I'm almost certain it's a barred owl. That's what I see by far the most of around here. So see if we can get some good videos of him. So let's go right into a nature break this time before I've even done any work. Here are some of the best videos of my owl. These are taken on 2 different nights, and I'll throw a link in my description to what I'm using to do this. And before I get into working on stuff, here's my construction disclaimer. When I left off in my last video, I was working on framing my 12-foot wall, working by myself and framing it in place, just working from left to right. Now I've finally almost done with it, just putting the sill plate on top. And if you look closely, you'll notice that I have some framing left to do underneath the windows. I'll come back and do that later. I want to make sure that I have enough full-length 2x4s to do all of my major stuff first, and I'll do that with what's left. Okay, time for another nature break. I've seen a merganser mom with a bunch of babies down just by the end of my dock a couple of times. Unfortunately, they don't like me as much as I like them, so as soon as we see each other, she hustles them off into the weeds, into hiding. So this is the best video I was able to get. I'll try to catch them in closer if I have a chance for a better one. And now it's time to start on my rafters. So I lifted the first one up, marked it with my square, and cut notches for where it'll sit on the sills. And I'll use that one as my pattern for marking and cutting all the rest. And that was going well until it started to rain on me. Kind of knew it was coming. It's not supposed to last too long. But we'll wait this one out in the bunkhouse. But right in front of me there's a woodpecker on the white pine. I think this is a downy woodpecker, either a downy or a hairy. I never can tell the difference 100% for sure, or remember how to tell the difference 100% for sure. Okay, I'm back to work. Time to put my first rafter up. My wife Echo and Cedar the dog will be showing up to help, but for the time being I'm still on my own. I was about to nail this one into place when I realized it'd be a good time to make a final check to be sure my wall is where I want it. And it is, so everything's good. I ended up getting 4 rafters in today. I timed the last one. Everything went as smoothly as it could, and it took about 45 minutes. I have 13 left to go, so I did the math, and that works out to basically a day's work to finish the rest. So Echo and Cedar made it up, and with help from Echo, got the end rafters up and put in using LVL for cross supports. That's a engineered wood product that's about 2.5 times stronger than regular lumber. This place is going to have to hold a lot of snow load. So I decided to double up on the LVLs. My rafters are 2x8s. They'll span about 6.5 feet between supports, and hopefully that'll work to hold the snow up. When Pat was up here at the beginning, he called this pioneer engineering, and that says it pretty well. I like that. There's Echo trying to stay out of my frame, but Cedar's willing to be on the camera. And here we've got all of the rafters up, and finished the last LVL piece as well. Where I doubled the LVLs up, I am going to bolt them together, but I just haven't done that yet. And you can see I have more framing to do on my gable walls between the LVL beams, but we'll get to that. A fun fact is that we had a bear inside the cabin shell last night, right after we went to bed in the bunkhouse. Echo saw it. I actually did the smart thing and went for my flashlight and my camera to try to get some close-ups for my viewers, but by the time I got here it was gone. Only black bears in this area, so they're pretty harmless. And I'm going to leave you this time with the view from my bunkhouse as I go to bed at night. The view and some loon calls. Thanks for watching, and hopefully next time I'll get a roof on. If you're still watching now, I'm going to go back in time a little bit and throw in a plug for something I use all the time. These retractable ratchet straps are one of my favorite things. They're so much easier to use and store than the regular ones. I've had this set for at least 10 years. I've used them in all sorts of ways, left them out in the rain a couple times. They still work pretty well. I have a newer set in my truck that's maybe 5 years old that's less abused, and they still retract all the way. This last one here, you'll notice, doesn't retract quite all the way, but it's still it's just fine. So I'll throw a link in my description to the exact ones that I have in case anyone's interested. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.